Hello, everybody. It's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com, and I am so thrilled you're joining me today because we're going to have some fun. We're going to make some wonderful handmade cards using border dies. But what's really cool is it's a 2-for-1. We're going to take the scrap from one card, and we're going to take that and we're going to turn another card into something fabulous. Are you ready to see the cards? Let me show you. I have cards for all seasons here, and I'm telling you, using the basic border dies, I have had more fun just creating 2-for-1 cards to create birthday cards and thinking of you and Christmas. I am very excited to show you how we're going to create today's cards. We always love saving money, right? And if we can get 2-for-1, it's a bonus. All right, I'm excited to share the cards, so let's head over to my stamping table and get to creating. So here are the cards I want to create in today's video, but all the cards are basically created the same. So you can see here we have our cut. We took what was left over here, brought it over here, and now look at that. Look at that little fun, unique little border that we have right there. So it's a really fun way to take our scraps left over here and use them over here. We love to get double duty, right? Okay, let's get started on our cards and the supplies that we need. So first things first, we're going to need 2 card bases. I'm going with the basic white thick. These are both the same, and they're cut 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. Again, you'll need 2. You're going to need some designer series paper. I chose polished pink because I'm just in a bright and cheerful mood today. I went with a piece of 6 by 6. This is from the In Colors 2021 to 2023 collection. You pick your favorite pattern. Either one is fine. We need a piece of 6 by 6. And yes, we're going to be using border dies. We're going to use the basic border dies. We've got some really great ones here, right? I am going to actually, for this card, I'm going to go ahead and use this fun scallop. I thought it went so well with my stamp set because my stamp set is the In Symmetry. So much fun. You notice it's a great builder set. We get to just build our flowers, build our stems. And of course, we have some really great sentiments with a fantastic font. So we're going to go with that. Our colors today: polished pink, daffodil delight, pumpkin pie, granny apple green, and then we're going to use our memento black. So we're going to begin working with that die. I'm going to start with just one card, and I just want to line this up here. I'm going to bring in my original so you can see. We want to let plenty of that designer series paper show in this card, but we don't want to go up too high. So I'm just going to leave myself, I'm going to say there's probably about an inch or so right here, but you feel free to leave as much space at the bottom of that as you'd like. I'm going to bring in my plates for my die cutting machine. I'm going to use plate number 1, plate number 2, because that's the one that's made for the thin dies. And then we need cutting plate 3. Now let's open up our card base, and we want to center that up right there on our plates. And now we can add that frame. And you see, it is a tight fit, right? It's a very tight fit. So you want to make sure that you're centering up your die on those plates. Get it set. We just simply bring another cutting plate right on top. If you bring that flat down, it's going to stay right where we need it to. Let's run that through our die cutting machine. And now you can see we get this great cut. I want you to also notice, do you see the fantastic stitchery on that? That also makes it really, really fun. Now, this piece that we just cut off, hold on to that. That's going to be what we're going to use on our second piece of, or our second card that we're going to create. Now, before we can create our second card, we actually have to do a little bit of cutting to that designer series paper. So I'm going to bring in my paper cutter. And good news, the cutting is super easy. We want to cut this down to 5.5 inches. So we're just going to take a little 1/2 inch strip, 1/2 by 6. Let's set that off to the side. So I have 5.5 inches here. We're going to rotate that so that this is being cut to 5.5 by 4 1/4. So that piece there is going to be used on the piece that we just cut. Remember that really fun that we let that kind of border show through? So that is going to be card number 1. We can add our adhesive here on the inside of the card. I'm just going to line up my designer series paper right inside to ensure that we get our card. We are good to go on card number 1. Now let's go and cut card number 2. We're now going to take this piece and now we're going to be ready to create that second card. So what we want to do with our leftover, what we would normally call a scrap, is we're going to adhere this down onto this leftover piece. But now when you adhere that down, you notice I have plenty of white space here at the bottom. I do that for a reason. I'm now going to come in, let's add adhesive here. I don't want to go up into this part, okay? I just want to keep it a little bit here on the designer series paper and a little bit here on the white. I'm going to bring in my card base and I'm going to adhere this right onto the front of that card. Do you see? Just adhere that down. Now we can come in with that die and watch what we're going to do. I'm just simply going to line it back up with the pattern, kind of decide where you want that to cut. The reason we're doing this is we want to ensure it's all going to line up just right. So now that I kind of have a visual going there, I'm going to go ahead just like I did before. Remember, line up that card in your die cutting on your plates here. Get your die set right where you want it. Come straight down. We're now going to run this through our machine so that we just die cut so that we get this pretty little scallop. All right, I've run that through the machine and now we get that, okay? So now what we can do here, I'm going to remove this. Now, this is pretty thick. Remember, this is now 2 layers. So you can leave that on there. We are now going to add that right here to the front of our card. And do you see? It all lines up perfectly. That's why I did like to go ahead and add that to my card ahead of time. I love having that extra strength going on there, and I don't have to worry about it shifting at all because I know the way I do it, it's going to be perfect. We love that. So there is our card. All of our die cutting is done. And before we start doing the stamping, I just wanted to remind you that you can order those border dies by going over to simplysimplestamping.com or look down in the YouTube description. You'll find a direct link to my blog post for today. And there you're going to find a complete supply list for all of my cards. You're going to see photos. You're going to find measurements. Everything you're going to need is going to be right there. If you'd like to order any of the supplies I use, just click the supply list and you can order right there. Okay, are you ready to stamp? All right, let's go. All right, cards are ready. So now it's time to come in and do some stamping. Let's start with this one here. And as I said, we're using the In Symmetry stamp set. I'm going to take that fabulous, ginormous flower, stamp that there with that stem. I'll add that right there. And you know what? This is something else I like to do. See this sweet little kind of a tulipy thing? I thought that added a great splash right there. I'm now going to come in with Granny Apple Green, and we have a great double set of leaves. Let's add that right here. And then there's another leaf stamp that's a double, and it's a little bit smaller. Oops, make sure I got that inked up well. There we go. And we can add those as well. And I did not get it inked up well. Well, you know what? That's why it's just paper. It's all good. All right. Let me go ahead and do my sentiment here. We're going to say, and we're going to do this in our black, you are perfectly unique, as is my card, because you can see right there, it is perfectly unique. Now we're going to come in with a little Daffodil Delight, and we have some daisies that we can just add as some accents. And you can see I did a little more stamping there on the inside. Very, very simple to do. And then you see here, I also added some of our black matte dots. I love working with these. We've got 2 different sizes. And of course, since these were smaller flowers, I used the smaller ones. It gave my card a little texture and just kind of stepped it up a notch. Although I think that scallop just does an amazing job on its own. But now let's go ahead. We're going to create card number 2. Now for this card, we're going to say best day ever. Let's stamp that right here at the bottom. We'll add a daisy right there. And while I've got this color out, we're going to take this this kind of little larger flower. Let's stamp one here. I'm going to clean that on my chamois so I can bring in my next color, which is my pumpkin pie. And we'll add a pumpkin pie flower right there. Again, clean my stamp. And again with our polished pink. Now, while I have my polished pink out, there's also a really sweet little heart that comes in this stamp set. You know what? I thought they just would look perfect. Just a few of those sitting right on those scallops. And now we'll come back in with that granny apple green, and let's give ourselves a few leaves coming off of our flowers. And then let me bring my completed card in. Again, some more of the black matte dots, and put another one right here. I do want to show you, I did something a little different on the inside of this one. I did stamp another flower. And if you would like to stamp on the inside, I'd recommend you not adhering this bottom piece down until you stamp. But at the same time, best day ever. Sometimes it's nice to just leave your card with plenty of room to write your message. But you see, when it closes up, there's no fear of any of my handwriting showing. My next two cards, I used this one. It's kind of scallopy and it's kind of chevron and it's very stitched. So I thought this one was awfully sweet. And you can see I did the exact same technique where I cut off here and adhered it down to the other card, cut it. Look what I did with the leftover pieces. I added the leftover pieces right here. And so that kind of added a little bit of extra something to the card. Used some of that great soft succulent ribbon, soft succulent paper. By the way, this is from the Eden's Garden collection, this paper, and the stamp sets are just beautiful. I mean, look at that distinctive stamp, so pretty. Remember those extra scraps? Yeah, I added one of those there to the inside. So remember, let me go ahead, I should have brought these in. These pieces that were left over, guys, we can find a use for these, and I did right there. Same thing, only I decided to take that die at a big old angle. I just wanted to change it up. And this is the Words of Cheer stamp set. Very pretty. Happy wishes to you and yours. And again, here you can see I just lined up my designer series paper with my scrap. Everything was done exactly the same. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the video today. If you enjoyed it, I'd love a thumbs up on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed, take a moment to click that great big red subscribe button, and YouTube can let you know whenever I am back with a new video. I'd love to have you as a subscriber to my channel. All right, that's all from me, everybody. I look forward to stamping with you again soon. Make it a great day. Bye-bye.